Welcome back to my channel. Today we will learn about the issue that has been shaking the world of General Hospital, a storyline filled with heartbreak, betrayal, shocking revelations, and a life-changing decision that could alter the future of several characters forever. This chapter centers around Willow, Drew, Nina, and the unexpected turn of events that puts them all at the center of a dramatic emotional storm. It all begins with what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of Willow's life, her wedding to Drew. For weeks, the two had been preparing to take the next step in their relationship, ready to solidify their bond and build a future together. Family and friends gathered, the decorations were perfect, the atmosphere was filled with love, and everything seemed to point toward a beautiful new beginning. But in the world of General Hospital, happiness is often a fragile illusion, ready to shatter at any moment. Just before or even during the ceremony, Willow's world came crashing down. She discovered that Drew had betrayed her trust in the worst possible way by sleeping with Nina. This revelation was not just about physical betrayal. It was the emotional and moral wound that hurt her the most. Willow felt deceived, disrespected, and humiliated, especially because Nina was someone she had her own complicated history with. The fact that Drew crossed that line made it impossible for her to see him as the same man she once loved deeply. The betrayal cut so deep that Willow could not even stand to look at Drew. Without hesitation, Willow stopped the wedding in its tracks. In front of everyone, she made the painful but resolute decision to cancel the ceremony. The vows were left unspoken, the rings remained undelivered, and the dream they had been building together collapsed instantly. From that moment on, Willow refused to see Drew, speak to him, or engage in any form of communication. She was determined to shut him out completely, even though deep inside, there was still a lingering pain, a sign that what they shared had been real at one point. Drew, however, was far from ready to give up. Despite the mistakes he made, his feelings for Willow had not faded. In fact, the distance and the heartbreak seemed to make him even more desperate to win her back. He tried to reach out, but Willow's walls were up, and every attempt was met with silence or rejection. For Drew, it was a painful realization that love was not enough to erase betrayal, but he still held on to the hope that one day she might forgive him. Just as the emotional wounds were beginning to scar over, fate threw another devastating twist at Willow. She noticed something unusual in her body. Her period had not come as expected. At first, she brushed it off, thinking it might be stress from the wedding disaster and the emotional turmoil she was going through. But as the days passed, the worry grew stronger. Something felt different, and the anxiety started to build in her mind. Unable to ignore it any longer, Willow went to the hospital to get checked. The doctor who attended to her was none other than Portia, someone who had a history with both her and Drew. After running the necessary tests, Portia had news for Willow, news that would change everything. Looking her in the eye, Portia revealed the shocking truth. Willow was pregnant. The words hit Willow like a thunderclap. She was not prepared for this. Her mind immediately flooded with 1,000 thoughts: fear, confusion, sadness, and anger. The first thing she realized was that the father of this baby could only be Drew. The thought of carrying his child after everything that had happened between them felt like an unbearable burden. Portia, aware of the situation and no fan of Drew herself, made her position clear. She did not hide her dislike for him, and perhaps in her own way, she wanted to protect Willow from further pain. With a calm but firm tone, Portia advised Willow to keep the pregnancy a secret. She urged her not to tell Drew, and instead to consider terminating the pregnancy quietly. Portia presented it as a way to avoid being tied to Drew forever, to prevent the drama from escalating, and to give Willow the chance to move on with her life without looking back. The suggestion weighed heavily on Willow. She was deeply hurt by Drew's betrayal, and the idea of raising a child with him, or even just having that connection, felt impossible to accept. After much internal struggle, Willow reluctantly agreed with Portia's advice. She convinced herself that it was for the best, that it was the only way to protect her future and her emotional well-being. She made the decision to go through with the procedure and end the pregnancy before anyone else found out. The day of the procedure arrived, and the atmosphere was heavy with tension. Willow was prepped for surgery. The medical team moved around her with quiet efficiency. and Portia stayed close by to make sure everything went according to plan. Willow tried to block out her thoughts, focusing on the idea that this was the right thing to do. But deep inside, a storm was raging: the uncertainty, the guilt, and the unspoken grief of what she was about to lose. What Willow did not know was that fate had other plans. Somewhere along the way, Drew had gotten wind of the truth. Whether it was from overhearing a conversation, receiving an anonymous tip, or connecting the dots from subtle clues, Drew had found out that Willow was pregnant and that the child was his. The news hit him like a punch to the chest, shaking him to his core. Suddenly, everything changed. His regret over losing Willow was magnified 100 times over. This wasn't just about love anymore. It was about their child, about the life they had created together, and the responsibility that came with it. Driven by desperation and fear of losing his baby before he even had a chance to be a father, Drew rushed to the hospital. Time was running out. He arrived just as the procedure was about to begin. The tension in the room was palpable when Drew appeared at the doorway, his voice urgent, his eyes filled with emotion. He called out to Willow, pleading with her to stop, to listen to him, to reconsider what she was about to do. In front of the doctors and nurses, Drew spoke from the heart. He begged Willow not to end the pregnancy, telling her that this baby was a part of both of them, an innocent life that deserved a chance to exist. He acknowledged his mistakes, admitted his betrayal, and promised that he would do whatever it took to make things right. More than anything, he wanted to be there for the child and for her, if she would let him. Willow lay there, torn between two impossible choices. On one hand, she wanted nothing to do with Drew, still reeling from the pain of his betrayal. On the other, the sound of his voice, the raw emotion in his plea, and the realization of what was at stake shook her resolve. The decision was hers alone to make, but now, with Drew's presence and his heartfelt words echoing in her mind, it no longer felt so clear-cut. The room fell silent as Willow's eyes locked with Drew's. The seconds stretched into what felt like hours. The medical team waited. Portia's expression grew tense, and Drew stood frozen, not knowing what her answer would be. In that moment, the future of all three lives, Willow's, Drew's, and their unborn child's, hung in the balance. And this is where General Hospital thrives, in the gray areas of the human heart, where love, betrayal, forgiveness, and the weight of life-changing choices collide. What will Willow decide? Will Drew's plea be enough to change her mind? Or will the pain of the past be too much for her to overcome? One thing is certain: this is a turning point, and the ripple effects will be felt by everyone connected to them in the episodes to come. NEXT, we will learn about the intriguing possibility of a fresh romantic spark for Sonny Corinthos. Amid the swirling dramas of Port Charles, in the ever-evolving world of ABC's General Hospital, Sonny Corinthos stands as a magnetic force, drawing in admirers from all corners of the town. As a powerful figure with a complicated past, he's no stranger to passionate entanglements that often blur the lines between love and conflict. Lately, though, his heart has been in a quieter phase, especially following the emotional fallout from his split with Nina Reeves. The divorce left him navigating life solo, focusing more on family ties and business dealings than on pursuing new affections. But whispers around Port Charles suggest that this solitude might soon end, with a surprising candidate emerging who could reignite the flames of romance in unexpected ways. Fans have long speculated about who might next capture Sonny's attention, and recent episodes hint at a storyline that's equal parts tension and tenderness. Reflecting on Sonny's storied romantic history, it's clear why he's such a perennial heartthrob. From fiery flings to deep commitments, his list of partners reads like a who's who of Port Charles' most dynamic women. Some have even circled back into his life multiple times, unable to resist his charismatic pull. Remember the intense connections with Brenda Barrett, whose on-again, off-again saga kept viewers on the edge of their seats for years? Or the profound bond with Carly Spencer, which endured countless trials before evolving into a platonic alliance. These relationships showcase Sonny's ability to forge deep emotional bonds, even amid chaos. More recently, there was a glimmer of potential with Natalia Ramirez, whose presence brought a fresh energy to his world. Their chemistry seemed promising, sparking hopes for a stable partnership. But tragedy struck when Natalia met an untimely end, leaving Sonny to grieve yet another loss. This void has only amplified calls for a new chapter in his love life, especially as Carly has shifted her focus toward the enigmatic Jack Brennan, creating space for Sonny to explore uncharted territories. Enter Justine Turner, the formidable assistant district attorney who's been a thorn in Sonny's side since her arrival in Port Charles. Known for her sharp legal mind and unyielding pursuit of justice, Justine, often referred to as a D.A. Turnerhaus, made it her personal crusade to dismantle Sonny's empire. Her determination echoes the efforts of many before her, from rival mobsters to law enforcement officials who've all underestimated the wily kingpin. Yet, Sonny's charm is legendary. He has a knack for disarming even the most resolute opponents with his suave demeanor and unexpected acts of kindness. A pivotal moment unfolded during a casual softball game in the park, where Justine suffered a painful ankle twist. In a twist of fate, Sonny stepped in as her unlikely savior, scooping her up and rushing her to General Hospital for treatment. There, in the sterile waiting room, he didn't just offer physical support, peeled back layers of his guarded persona, sharing candid stories about his turbulent upbringing in Bensonhurst, his regrets over past mistakes, and his unwavering devotion to his children. This vulnerability caught Justine off guard, planting seeds of empathy where suspicion once reigned. Viewers couldn't help but notice her defenses cracking, her stern gaze softening into something more intrigued, hinting that Sonny's strategy of humanizing himself might be working its magic once again. This budding dynamic isn't without precedent in Sonny's colorful past, where he's repeatedly tangled with women who started as adversaries across the legal divide. Take, for instance, the case of FBI agent Reese Marshall, whose undercover mission to infiltrate his operations took a romantic detour. Their affair was complicated by Reese's hidden connections to Carly, adding layers of betrayal and redemption that kept the storyline riveting. Going further back, there was Hannah Scott, another FBI operative specifically chosen for her resemblance to Sonny's former loves, a calculated move to exploit his weaknesses. What began as a deceptive assignment blossomed into genuine feelings, though it ultimately unraveled under the weight of secrets. Then there's federal prosecutor Claire Walsh, assigned to build a case against him, only to find herself drawn into his orbit. Their collaboration against mutual enemy Johnny Zakara turned professional rivalry into a passionate alliance, proving Sonny's talent for turning foes into allies and sometimes lovers. And who could forget his steamy liaison with attorney Alexis Davis? That brief but impactful affair not only challenged their opposing worlds, but also resulted in the birth of their daughter, Christina Corinthos Davis, a living testament to how love can emerge from the unlikeliest of conflicts. These examples illustrate a pattern. Sonny thrives in high-stakes romances that test loyalties and blur ethical lines, often leading to profound personal growth for everyone involved. Now, with Justine in the mix, the question looms: what's driving her relentless campaign against Sonny? Is it purely professional zeal, a bid to clean up Port Charles by toppling its most notorious mob boss? Or does a deeper, more personal vendetta fuel her fire, perhaps a family history tied to organized crime, or a past encounter that left scars? Inventive fan theories abound, suggesting she might have lost a loved one to the underworld violence Sonny represents, or even that she's connected to a long-forgotten rival from his early days in the mob. Whatever her motivations, recent interactions show cracks in her armor. That hospital visit wasn't just medical aid, it was a masterclass in seduction through sincerity, with Sonny revealing anecdotes about his bipolar disorder struggles and how they've shaped his resilience. Justine's responses, laced with reluctant admiration, indicate she might be reconsidering her black and white view of him. Could this evolve into a full-fledged romance, where she abandons her prosecutorial path for a shot at love? Or will it lead to a dramatic betrayal, amplifying the soap's signature twists? As General Hospital continues to weave these threads, the potential pairing of Sonny and Justine promises to deliver the kind of electrifying drama that keeps fans hooked. It could explore themes of redemption, the gray areas of morality, and the irresistible pull of forbidden attraction. Imagine scenes of clandestine meetings in dimly lit cafes, where legal debates turn flirtatious, or high-tension courtroom showdowns charged with unspoken desire. Sonny's track record suggests he's adept at winning over skeptics, but Justine's strong-willed nature could make this his most challenging conquest yet. Adding to the intrigue, peripheral characters like Jason Morgan or Nina could weigh in, offering advice or jealousy that complicates matters further. Ultimately, this storyline might not only revitalize Sonny's personal arc, but also shake up Port Charles' power dynamics, perhaps leading to alliances that reshape the town's underbelly. What do you think, loyal viewers? Would a romance between Sonny and the tenacious Ada Turner be the perfect next chapter? Or do you envision someone else stepping into his heart? Next, we will learn about the escalating tensions between Willow and Michael, and the deeper layers behind her dramatic transformation on the show. In the heart of Port Charles, where family bonds are constantly tested by secrets and suspicions, Willow Corinthos finds herself in a bewildering standoff with her husband, Michael. She's utterly perplexed as to why he's barring her from seeing their children, Amelia and Wiley, creating a rift that's tearing at the fabric of their once solid marriage. Unbeknownst to Willow, Michael's decision stems from a chilling suspicion that she's the one responsible for tampering with baby Daisy, the innocent infant caught in the crossfire of Port Charles' endless dramas. This alleged interference prompted Sasha Gilmore to make a desperate escape from town, whisking her daughter away to safety in a remote cabin upstate, far from the prying eyes and potential dangers lurking in their hometown. Michael's protective instincts have kicked into overdrive, viewing Willow not just as a loving mother but as a potential threat, whose unpredictable behavior could unravel at any moment. To the outside world, Willow maintains a facade of composure, flashing polite smiles during chance encounters at the Metro Court or casual coffee runs. But those close to her like Mike Elkin spot the subtle glint of mania flickering in her eyes, a harbinger of an impending emotional storm that might endanger everyone around her, especially the vulnerable little ones. Delving deeper into Willow's downward spiral, her journey toward the darker facets of her personality has manifested in striking, symbolic ways, most notably through her impulsive decision to shear off her long locks into a choppy, uneven bob. This drastic change isn't merely cosmetic, it's a visual metaphor for the chaos brewing within. As if she's shedding her old self piece by piece, actress Caitlin McMullen, who brings Willow to life with such raw authenticity, opened up about this pivotal shift in a revealing interview with Soap Opera Digest, shedding light on how it ties into her character's evolving psyche. McMullen recounted how the idea originated from the show's executive producer, Frank Valentini, who approached her with enthusiasm about refreshing Willow's appearance to align with a surge of newfound confidence. It would be great for Willow to have a new look as she comes into the nurses' ball. Feeling so confident, Valentini suggested personally guiding the selection of a bolder, edgier style that deviated from Willow's previous soft, flowing tresses. He envisioned this as a way to visually cue the audience into Willow's internal empowerment, perhaps drawing from real-life inspirations like iconic short-haired heroines in cinema, who undergo transformations during moments of crisis. McMullen embraced the concept, noting that the timing at the glamorous nurses' ball amid glittering gowns and high society mingling proved the ideal backdrop for such a bold statement, allowing Willow to step into the spotlight with a fierce, unapologetic vibe that contrasted sharply with her past demure image. Analyzing this hairstyle evolution further, it's evident that the chop wasn't portrayed as a polished salon visit, but rather a frenzied, almost desperate act, as if Willow grabbed scissors in a fit of midnight turmoil, hacking away at her hair in front of a dimly lit bathroom mirror while tears streamed down her face. This raw depiction amplified the sense of her unraveling, making viewers question whether it was a cry for help or a rebellious assertion of control. Amid her life's freefall, the nurses' ball itself became the stage for this revelation, where Willow debuted the look with a mix of defiance and vulnerability, turning heads and sparking whispers among attendees like the Quartermain family and hospital staff. McMullen elaborated that the change was meant to signify a departure from the familiar, explaining, "It would be great for Willow to have a bolder look, something different than what we've seen in the past with her. This aligns with broader character development arcs in soaps, where physical alterations often symbolize psychological shifts, much like when other General Hospital characters have undergone makeovers. During periods of intense personal growth or distress, think of Carly's evolving styles. Through her many reinventions or Nina's polished transformations post-coma. In Willow's case, the chop served as a narrative device to heighten the drama, visually cueing her descent into instability while inviting audience empathy. For her fractured state of mind, the catalyst for Willow's public downfall traced back to that fateful nurses' ball, where the evening's festivities took a shocking turn with Michael's unexpected return. Having been recuperating in a state-of-the-art burn clinic, nestled in the serene hills of Germany undergoing intensive treatments for injuries, sustained in a fiery warehouse, explosion orchestrated by a shadowy rival. Michael's sudden appearance sent shockwaves through the crowd. Dressed in a tailored suit that masked his lingering scars, he strode in with purpose, his eyes locking onto Wiley amid the ballroom's twinkling lights. Without a word, he scooped up their son in a protective embrace and made a swift exit, leaving Willow stunned and the guests buzzing with speculation about his motives and the state of their marriage. This moment marked the beginning of Willow's very public meltdowns, including a tearful outburst at the hospital cafeteria, where she accused bystanders of conspiring against her, and another at a family gathering where her paranoia boiled over into a heated confrontation with relatives. These episodes culminated in a heart-wrenching custody battle, where a judge, swayed by evidence of Willow's erratic behavior, including witness accounts of her erratic driving and unexplained absence, ruled in Michael's favor, stripping her of primary custody and restricting her access to supervised visits only. Compounding her anguish, Willow's romantic life imploded when she abandoned Drew Kane at the altar during what was supposed to be a joyous wedding ceremony at the Quartermain mansion. The betrayal came to light when Drew confessed to a passionate affair with Nina Reeves, Willow's own mother, in a moment of raw honesty just before the vows, prompting Willow to flee the venue in her wedding gown, her dreams of stability shattering like fragile glass. Examining the cumulative impact of these events, it's no wonder Willow's mental state has deteriorated to the point of near collapse. The barrage of betrayals, losses, and revelations would push anyone to their breaking point, evoking comparisons to classic soap opera arcs where heroines like Laura Spencer or Elizabeth Weber faced similar emotional tempests. From the custody loss that severed her daily connection, to her children leaving her with haunting memories of bedtime stories and playground outings, to the altar jilting that exposed deep-seated trust issues within her family, each blow chipped away at her resilience. Inventive plot extensions could see Willow seeking therapy at a discreet clinic outside Port Charles, perhaps uncovering repressed memories from her cult upbringing that fuel her current instability, adding layers of psychological depth to her character. These trials underscore the soap's exploration of mental health themes, portraying how unchecked trauma can lead to isolation and self-sabotage, all while keeping viewers invested in her potential path to redemption. Beyond its symbolic role, Willow's haircut carried personal significance for McMullen, who described the experience as oddly liberating in her Soap Opera Digest chat. She admitted that the shorter style made her feel more authentically herself, a sensation she found weird yet empowering, as it stripped away the metaphorical veil she'd hidden behind. When my hair was longer, I kind of felt like I could hide behind the hair a little bit. But this is like, no, you have to really show yourself, McMullen revealed, highlighting how the change forced a bolder on-screen presence that mirrored Willow's forced confrontation with her inner demons. This insight provides a meaty layer to the storyline, as McMullen's real-life adjustment parallels her characters, perhaps inspiring future episodes where Willow uses this exposed feeling to rebuild her life, maybe through a new career pivot at the hospital or reconciling with estranged loved ones. In the grand tapestry of General Hospital, such transformations remind us that change, even when born from pain, can lead to profound growth, keeping the audience eagerly anticipating what's next for Willow. Amid the ever-twisting plots of Port Charles, what are your thoughts on Willow's journey? Let us know in the comments.